Hey guys, Kevlin Day here, your behavior gladiator, sitting outside of a training I'm doing today on a beautiful sunny day, and thought I would just do a couple quick snippets on a video just because I'm hearing lots of people talking about the topic of angry kids, and I'm actually reading a book right now about the topic of angry kids, and so I thought I would just kind of come online and give you a couple quick tips to address the topic of angry kids or kids who are experiencing anger. This is specifically for my educator friends if you have a classroom or you're a school counselor or a school social worker, but these are also strategies that can be used if you are a parent. Probably will do a series of videos on this. So this is going to be video one. We're just going to talk a little bit about the topic of anger, some kind of backstory to anger, because I think one of the things that I'm hearing currently is why are these kids so angry, and what can be done. So the first thing I want to talk about is anger is not a diagnosis. Anger is an emotion. Okay, we have to come to grips with the fact that anger is a natural part of the human experience. And while it's something that we need to be able to manage, like all emotions, it's not something that we want to eliminate or avoid or get rid of. It's literally just something that we want to feel and experience, and then choose how we either express it or move through the feeling that we're having. Right now, what I'm seeing a lot is because the anger comes out sometimes in aggressive ways, violent ways, dangerous ways, or even destructive ways, what we're often wanting to do is just stop it. We just want to stop the behavior. We just want to shut it down. And so we've kind of linked those two things together. We've linked the behavior with the emotion. The challenge to that is that for our students, they now have also done that. They have linked the fact that I feel a particular way with the fact that I must do a particular thing. If we as educators are choosing that, are following along with that line of logic, we're not equipping them with the tools that they need. So the first thing we want to do is make sure that we are very clear in both our language and our practice that all of our emotions are neutral. They're not good nor bad. They come and they go. They are feelings. But that we want to choose our behaviors regardless of how we feel. We have to choose our behaviors. So we want to recognize emotion and then choose our behaviors, okay? So we want to make sure that we're focusing on not labeling anger as bad or labeling it as something that is abnormal or something that is wrong. Now, oftentimes, and this is kind of that back part, oftentimes what's causing the anger, the trigger for the anger is bad. You have a child who's been through a traumatic experience, or maybe they're experiencing some type of upheaval in their personal life, and they are frustrated because of that. It's very natural to associate what I feel with that bad thing that happened, and so what I feel must be bad. But that's where the kids really need our support to help kind of separate out what they feel, what happened, and to really look at things from a 360 perspective, okay? And because of that, we want to make sure that we're choosing our language appropriately. One thing I hear people say a lot is, you're making me feel angry, or you're making me sad, or you're making your friend uncomfortable, you're making your friend cry. We don't make people have feelings. Okay, let me repeat that. We don't make people have feelings. People feel things maybe because they are experiencing something that is happening, but we want to make sure that we give the person who is having the feeling control over the feeling. A lot of our kids don't feel like they have control over their emotions. They'll tell me, I have an anger problem, as if anger just kind of takes over their body. I want them to get back into the position of being empowered, get back into the position of saying, I control what I do, I control what I feel, I no longer want to feel this anger. Here's what I can do to move through this feeling, okay? When you're telling kids that they're making you angry or that they're making you sad, you're giving them your power, and that really teaches them the opposite of what we want them to know, which is that they can control not only what they think and they feel, but also what they do, okay? So make sure that you're choosing your language appropriately and not giving away that power. And then lastly, for I think this first video, we'll just kind of end with a review of what I call the behavior safety net. And I've had other videos on this topic as well. I really think it's important that we learn and we teach kids how to name it and tame it. It's important to name and tame what it is you're feeling, right? So when we have these big, overwhelming emotions, whether it be fear is another one, and I'll probably have to do a series of videos on that as well. Fear is another one of those big emotions that can kind of overtake you and make you feel like you simply must change what's going on. But the first thing you want to do is name it. Name what you see, whether it be the behavior or the emotion that you believe is attached to it. Empathize with what the child looks like they're feeling, and then teach them the appropriate skill. So it's important that when we're seeing a child who's angry, that we don't work to just pacify the child, that we don't work to just protect the child. That is a part of it that's sometimes necessary, but you also want to go the extra step of teaching the child what are the skills that they need to be able to manage this without you. Because ultimately, our job as educators is to work ourselves out of a job. We want our children to be able to self-regulate and self-manage and self-advocate. And so we have to give them the tools to do that. So you want to make sure that you're also giving them the skills that they need. And recognizing emotion is a really important piece of the emotional intelligence puzzle. You know, we call that emotional IQ. You know, do you have the EQ? You know, are you able to recognize emotion, manage emotions, and deal with it? And so we want to give them that skill piece. So when we're thinking about anger, the first thing I want you to recognize is that it's not a bad thing. I want you to watch your language to make sure that you're not talking about it as if it's a bad thing. But then most importantly, teach the skills that are necessary to manage it. We'll come back with video 2 and talk a little bit more about some of the responses that you might be seeing when it comes to anger, some of the things that you might be seeing in your classroom or your home, and how you might respond to that. So I'll see you guys next time.